My name is Yanni Kokos, and I'm the head coach and owner at Oli PR Formats. Today I want to talk about the 5 things that I wish I knew when I first started weightlifting. The first thing I wish I knew was just cut out all the crap and just focus on technique. Now, a lot of times we're new to weightlifting. We focus on how much weight's on the bar. And especially if you're in a CrossFit gym where there's somebody to your right, somebody to your left, somebody in front of you, somebody behind you, and you're worried about what they're putting up. You watch the weight that they're loading on the bar, and then you say, well, I can't possibly go down to an empty barbell to focus on my technique. I got to start throwing weight on here, even if I'm not ready for it. Now, this doesn't have to be just if you're at a CrossFit gym. You know, I've done it at a CrossFit gym. I've been at a barbell club, and it's easy to just see what others around you are doing and load up the bar. Subconsciously, this is an ego thing. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that, you have a big ego. You just don't want to look weak compared to other people, right? Especially if it's humbling, right? Especially if you're a strong person, if you can squat a lot, if you can deadlift a lot, if you can bench press a lot, if you can overhead press a lot, to show that you have a weak area and Olympic weightlifting, the weights that are on that bar doesn't match what you can do strength-wise, it's humbling, right? So it sometimes can be really difficult to sit there and lower the amount of weight on that bar. But I'm telling you right now, the one thing I really wish I knew back when I started weightlifting is how important it was. Just take the process as it is, focus on the technique, don't worry about what's on the bar. That weight will come. The better the technique gets over time, there is going to be one day where when your technique is looking pretty good and you like the way it looks and feels good and you're picking everything up really well, there is going to be a time where now all of a sudden the weight's really going to come and now you're going to look really good while doing it. That leads me kind of into my second point. The second thing I wish I knew was just stop muscling the lifts just because you're strong enough too. So there's going to be a point where, many of you might enter the sport of weightlifting having, like I described before, a really strong back squat, really strong, deadlift. And so it could be really easy to muscle that bar up because you're really strong. What I mean by muscling the bar is, you get through your first pull and second pull of whether it's your snatch or your clean, and then you get to triple extension, and then instead of getting underneath the bar, you really just launch that bar up there towards your shoulders or towards the overhead position. You launch the bar up there because you're strong enough too. Because you're worried, well, if I try and get underneath it and I'm not fast enough or I'm not stable enough, I'm going to drop the bar and it's going to look ridiculous if I'm dropping a low amount of weight or at least low to your standards. But what I wish I knew was it doesn't matter. I would rather, if I could look back right now and redo it all over again, I'd miss that bar 1,000 times over if I knew that was going to get me to my mission a lot quicker. If it was going to get me to the point where I was going to learn the technique better, I was going to be quicker with it, my learning process would have been a little bit smoother had I not focused on that and I'd focused on it's okay to fail for me to take that step forward. It's like that saying in life, right? You take one step back to take a few steps forward. It's exactly what this is, and I kind of wish I knew that early on. So my third point is what I really wish I knew was follow and stick to a long-term plan. There have been times where I was in a CrossFit gym and I'd go month to month. I didn't have really I didn't have goal set. I didn't have a plan, and I just kind of showed up month after month. Sometimes I would make gains, sometimes I wouldn't. But there were other times where, I had a coach, I had a plan, and I was too impatient. I didn't see the long-term value of weightlifting. I saw it as, well, if I'm not making strides within a month, I would get frustrated with myself. So I would quit, or I would take a break and a hiatus. I'd come back to it, and I'd be worse off than I was before. Or I would just try something new. I'm like, this isn't working. I got to try something new. When in reality, I just didn't give it enough time. The goal is, this should be a long-term thing, right? Weightlifting isn't something that we accomplish in a month and then we move on. It's not something that easy. This is years and years and years of iteration. And that iteration, it takes small steps and small wins. And I wish I knew that, and I was a little bit more patient with myself, because I would have been able to just stick to a long-term plan and trust the process, like we've all heard. I wish I had done that early on. Now, the fourth step is it's a little bit different than some of the ones I just mentioned. It's just taking your recovery seriously. So there'd be times where I'd go through periods of, month after month or week after week or a couple of bad training days, and the weights just would feel heavy. And I'm like, this weight should not be heavy for me, at least to what I'm able to do, my capabilities. Shouldn't be that heavy, but it is. And my body wouldn't feel good. I'd tweak everything. I'd have a muscle tweak here and there. But what I was neglecting was my recovery. Back then, I wasn't getting much sleep. I was a student. I didn't really focus on that at all. I was like, well, why do I need sleep? As long as I'm training hard, I should still be getting to my goals. I'll sleep later. But it's not just sleep. I wasn't putting the right things into my body, right? I wasn't, drinking enough water, eating the right foods for my body, making sure that I moved when my body was telling me to move, and that I was resting when I needed to rest. I just thought I can sit for 8 hours in a classroom and then show up and throw 200 plus pounds over my head, and that would all be fine. When in reality, it doesn't work that way. And it's not going to work without your body rebuilding, right? Weightlifting, strength training, it's your body's way of breaking down only to rebuild back stronger, as long as you have good recovery habits in place. I didn't have those recovery habits at all. And to be honest with you, it took me months before I saw progress again. So that's one thing I really wish I had taken way more seriously. I take it much more seriously now. I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference. The last thing is investing in the right coach. So early on, a lot of us as weightlifters, we do just enough to get our technique to have some semblance of correct, right? We get it to look just good enough that it'll pass. Passing score, a C, not an A. And we're like, okay, now we load the bar on, we get stronger, we get heavier, but we get stuck there. We get stuck in what I call a comfort zone. And we never grow, we never improve. That's why the weights get stagnant. And we wonder why we're not putting any more weight on the bar. We get frustrated. It leads to a lot of burnout, to be honest with you. And, this kind of goes along with that, investing in a plan, following and trusting a process, is realizing, it took me a while to realize this, but I was in it for the long haul. This wasn't something that I wanted to do just for fun for a month or two and then quit it. I wanted to do this for years and years and years to come, as long as I possibly could, to be honest with you. And once I realized that, like, if I'm in this for the long haul, why am I making these short-term game plans? Why not find the right coach for me, or coaches if you do better with multiple coaches? Why not find the right coach for me that's going to be by my side, that's going to customize everything to me, help me learn the sport and make it my own, and be there over the long haul so that I did it the right way, so that I could learn weightlifting over time the right way and enjoy it, improve on it, and looking and thinking long term. Like, how can I make these small little wins along the way and enjoy it, so that I'm not only focused on the end result, because if not, you're going to burn out quick. But between learning the technique, between having somebody keep me accountable, between having somebody there to really just customize things, see things that I'm not going to see on my own, even though I'm a coach myself, and being able to put all those things together and having somebody along with you in that journey that's going to help guide you, it's amazing to have that person and knowing that they're there with you every step of the way. They're in your corner. I wish I knew that a long time ago. So these are the 5 things that I really wish I knew as a new weightlifter. If you're one of those people that is looking right now for weightlifting coaching, my door is always open. So I'm just a DM away. The easiest way to reach me is on Instagram. My handle is Oli_performance. It actually changed to Yanni, YIANNI _ Oli Performance. So that's all one word, OLYPRFORMANCE. It's just missing the E in performance, but that's what makes my company name. yeah, feel free to reach me. It's the best way to reach me is on Instagram at, again, Yanni_Oli PR Formats. Even if you're not necessarily looking for a weightlifting coach, or maybe you don't know if you need one, and you're just looking for what's my next step, what do I do, what's going to be best for me, I'm always available to chat. I think, whatever it takes to get you on the right path, that's the ultimate most important thing. Again, my door is always open. Reach out to me on there, shoot me a DM, and I'll get back to you. I hope you found this valuable. I hope you take these 5 lessons with you. And if you're a new weightlifter, consider thinking about these things as you start to get into your journey.